Hello, my friends. It's me, Karen Valentine, and we are back to do part 2 of The Lady of Spring by Linda Ravenscroft. And I'm so excited because I love playing in these books with my Inktense pencils. So, yay, that's what we're going to do today. So, I am thinking... I told you in part 1 that I want to do purples and greens. So let's pull out some pencils and see what we can do. So I want to pull out Fern because it's a nice yellow green. Hello, Fern, where are you? Fern is 1560. There it is. That was so much easier. Okay, so Fern, and I love felt green, so let's do that one. So we've got this one, and then I'm thinking that we probably want something not so yellow. Let's pull out Beech. 1510. And so what have we got? Fern, which is very yellow. I want something bright. So let's do apple green. So now we've got apple, beech, felt, and fern. That's probably enough greens. I want to pull out, I'm going to use probably all yeah, we're going to pull out some browns. So let's do amber, tan, oak, and saddle brown. I'm not sure if I'll use them all, but we'll have them. And then for my purples, we need to decide if we want to do kind of bluey purples or these pinkier purples. I really love that mauve color. I think I'm going to pull mauve. And dark purple. But let's also do some bluer ones as well. So let's do deep violet. Ouch. I hate it when I drop my pencils. Okay, deep violet and violet. And what else are we going to need? We're going to maybe want white and we'll pull the black just in case. And is that it? Browns. We can always come back and get more colors if we need to, but that'll get us started. Alrighty then. So I'm going to show you what my Inktense tips look like. This is a good one to show you. So I don't use my pencils the way most people probably use their pencils. I tried that. I tried coloring and then activating with the color, and I found that on a lot of the papers, the water would not activate all of the pigment without a good soaking. And I don't like to soak my papers because most of my papers are not necessarily watercolor papers. So you want to use as little water as you can, probably get away with. And so what I have wound up doing is actually pulling the color right from the pencil Now, if I had known this when I first bought these pencils, I would have bought the Inktense blocks, because they are just the pigment in a little stick, like a pastel stick would look. And you can actually just pull the color right from the stick in the pan, and that would have worked for me much, much better. But I'm going to make do with what I have until these are all gone. And honestly, I'll probably have them forever, because I don't think I've ever sharpened these. They just seem to last forever, and I keep pulling color, and I hardly ever have to sharpen them to get down to more of the core of the pencil. So that is what we're going to do. We're just going to use them from the end. I've got my purples. Let's see, what do I want to start with? Probably mauve. Oh, you know what I didn't pull out? I want to pull out some yellow. Let's do sun yellow and cadmium yellow. Yes, you gotta see my cadmium yellow. This is kind of funny. I don't know if you can see it. Look at my cadmium yellow. Can you? I can't tell if you can see that or not. It's got this crazy, weird little divot in it. No, I feel like that's just looking all blurry, like you can't tell. All right, moving on. It's funny looking. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, now the question is, do I want to do leaves first? I am inclined to say yes. Let's do some leaves first. So we don't need those. I might want some yellows. Let me just get some of these in my hand. And let's see, what's the best way to set this up? I don't want to drip on the piece as I'm pulling. So I think this way is going to work the best. And I'm not sure how much. I think we're going to just go with a zoom like that. It's not super tight, but at least that way you'll be able to kind of see what I'm doing. Hopefully that's good. All right, so occasionally I will lay down the white, or they call it antique white. And this is the only pencil that I actually color on the paper with. And I will do that if I want to make sure that I get some lighter tones, like for maybe highlights or whatever, because as I lay the other color down, it will mix with the white and give me a little bit of a lighter color right there. So I do work light to dark in these because they're rather translucent. So I'm just going to dig in and see how I feel. Where's my fern? I know I pulled it out. There it is. There's a perfect example of the color on the tip that looks nothing like the color of the actual ink. So let's see. I'm going to use Fern. And I'm just going to pull some of that. And away we go. All right, now normally I would work each leaf and do a bunch of different colors, but I'm thinking that that will be a nightmare in editing. So I'm going to, hopefully this works out, stick with Fern and just do this in different color layers. Although sometimes I do want the ink to be wet when I mix, so that might not work. I might just have to work the way I normally work. So that's Fern. Let's throw some apple green. It really brightens things up. And this is tan. And I'm curious about what would happen if I added some mauve on here. So if you move that pigment around while there's still enough water on and before it has a chance to dry, it moves in these books pretty nicely. If you don't do it fast enough, it will settle into the paper and dry, and there's no getting rid of it at that point. There's no moving it around. Because these pencils are water-soluble ink, but once it dries, that's it. And it does not, you cannot reactivate it again. All right, I want to throw a little beech green in here. So I definitely prefer the yellowier greens. The beech is nice to mix in, but I think for the majority of the color, I'd rather have the yellowier green. So I'm just going to throw some yellow on here. And that changes it up pretty nice. This is tan. We might want to go for a darker color. Let's try amber. Oh, that's still not quite dark enough. but it looks pretty. I kind of like the purple in there. I wonder, throw a tiny little bit more in there on the tip. This is Mauve. And mauve looks really pretty when mixed with yellows. So I'm going to dab a little bit of yellow in there too. So what I like about the Inktense is that you can just keep adding more and more and more layers as each layer dries. You want to be careful and not, oh, I'm afraid that one's going to be really bright. You want to be careful and not overwork your paper. So I would say, you know, work an area, work your leaf, and then let it go. And then come back after it's had a chance to dry a little bit. Because even though this is great paper, it can be overworked just like any other paper, and you don't want to have you don't want it to get all nappy and pilly, you know what I mean. So you can step away, or you can use a heat gun to dry it kind of in between. Okay, I want to be careful not to get this looking too much like autumn leaves. So I do need to be careful about that. This is felt green. And cadmium yellow. And this is saddle brown. And sometimes I'll tap my brush on the paper towel to make sure that it's fairly dry, so that I'm going in and moving the water and ink that's already on the paper around a little bit. I don't want to add more water to what I've just done. This is Fern. Felt. And amber. Let's see what this oak will do. It's a kind of a dark brown. Yeah, I like that. So we're going to put some of that here. And just try and tap it rather than brushing, because I can see that the paper is lumpy, for lack of a better word. So it does have water on it. When it dries, it will all flatten out, but I don't want to work it too much again until it's dry. So I think we'll just keep moving on. Let's do, what color do I want? Do I have leaf green? Felt, apple, no leaf. I don't think I pulled leaf. Leaf might be a little bit too brown of a green, so we'll just keep going with what we have. So this is felt. Let's see, I'm gonna have to scoop over for you guys. And this is apple. And I think a little bit of amber. I can go back if I just tap it in with some purple, not purple, mauve. And then I tap off to get my brush as dry as I can. So that I can move the ink around. Yeah, that might be too wet for me to, I'm gonna have to let that dry. So we will keep going. Maybe we move on to the leaves that are over here. Let those dry. You just kind of get a feel for it as the more and more you do it. You get a feel for when you're overworking the paper. I'm using felt green and apple green. Ooh, that apple green's bright. So maybe a little bit more felt green. Sorry. And let's put some saddle brown in there. do felt. And fern. And how about a little cadmium yellow? And I do like the way that purple, I keep calling it purple, mauve. I do like the way that's looking, so I'm going to put some of that in here right now. Fern. Felt. And I think a little bit of cadmium yellow. And mauve. Some more here. Let's see what this beech green looks like when it's mixed in here. I think everything needs a little bit of this because things were looking almost a little bit too fall-like, and this kind of brightens things up a bit. So maybe over here too. Well, I don't want to go too much. I think that's probably good. I'll put, this is beech green still. And now apple green. There's really no rhyme or reason to why I'm picking the colors that I'm picking. I just want to get a good kind of blend so that the leaves are interesting and not just flat and single colored. And I'm going to put some saddle brown in here. Mauve. A bit more mauve up here. So the less water you have on your brush, the more intense the ink is going to be because it's not diluted as much. Alrighty. This is apple. Felt. And let's just go. This is oak. Needs to be, it needs something. Beech, maybe? Part of me likes that it's standing out a lot brighter than the others, but I don't know. This is felt. I think I want that leaf to be brighter. We're going to try this apple green, and if that doesn't work, I might have to mix up some white. It's not necessarily brighter in the sense that it's whiter, but this apple green definitely did something for it. I'm going to put some of that apple green here too. Again, I want to be careful that these don't look too dull. Now they are going to kind of dull down a little bit when they dry. They do. I like this addition of this apple green though, I gotta admit. So we are doing it. Okay, one more. Okay, how many leaves do we still have to go up here? Here's some right there. So I'm going to put a little bit of the white pencil down. Not sure how much good that's doing, but be sure not to scribble pencil onto any area that's wet, because that will just destroy the paper. All right, this is felt green. And if you wipe off quickly enough, if you get it on some areas that you don't want, it will generally come up, but you have to be really quick. Okay, I'm gonna put some, let's see, I want something, this is probably not the right thing. This is Fern. No, I'm gonna pull that off with a dry, and then put some saddle brown on here. Okay. There's a leaf right there. So, felt green. And oak, maybe. Yeah, see, there's a perfect example. I didn't wipe fast enough, so I got some green right there. And I should probably stop and wait and make sure that it's really dry. And a lot of the times you can use the eraser and lighten it up and take some of the pigment off. Okay, have we done the leaves all up here on her head? It looks like it. There's a tiny little bit of a leaf peeking out right there. This is felt. The really dark areas take a little bit longer for that pigment to sink into the paper. I'm kind of tempted to want to do her hair before we go on to anything else. I'm just putting some green. What color green is this? Felt green. It's kind of in here. It feels like it didn't get any, and it needs it. And what would that be? Is that leaf? Flower? It almost looks flowery, but I think we'll just go with green. I don't know if you can see, I might not be zoomed in close enough, but this water is just kind of beading up on these really dark areas. It doesn't want to soak in. So you just kind of gotta let it rest and do its thing. It'll get in there eventually. Okay, let's do her hair. I really liked that Do we want to go a little bit darker though, maybe? So there's not a gazillion colors in Inktense. They only have 72. But I think we'll do tan, saddle brown. And there isn't really a darker brown version, maybe bark. Because chocolate looks too red compared to the others. Amber, saddle brown, and bark. Let's see. Amber. I don't think I have saddle brown out. Yes, I do. Amber, saddle brown, and we need to get bark out, I think. Alrighty. So we're going to put some amber down first. And just like when I do Prismas, I think I'm going to work in sections so that I can keep the ink that I'm working in kind of wet so that they'll blend a little bit better. This just may be too blonde. Boy, that is really golden. Let's see what happens if we add some bark in here. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm going to bring the bark down in. Now I'm wondering if I should use white. Let's just try that. Sorry, let's just try that. Don't talk with a pen in your mouth. I'm gonna skip the amber and go straight to saddle brown and see what that does. Then bark. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have skipped the amber because that's what gave it a little bit of a glow. There we go. All right, don't skip the amber. They definitely do lighten as they dry. You know, I put color on and I think, oh, that'll be, you know, nice and rich and dark. And then I look back a few minutes later and it's like, hey, wait, what happened to my dark color? So I think it's going to be impossible for me to differentiate in the video when I do the colors to go between. Sorry, hang on. I'm trying to avoid a yucky disaster here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see what this looks like right now. It's kind of all lumpy looking and it's not very pretty. When that dries, I am 90% sure that that will go away and get better. So I am not touching that. And we're going to move on and do some more hair. But if it starts to look like that, leave it alone. Okay, again, the colors that I'm using: amber, saddle brown, and bark. And maybe some antique white. Right there. Okay, amber. Saddle brown. And bark. Some bark back in here. Having very mixed feelings here. We may go in with some Prismas afterwards. We'll see. Amber, saddle gray, and bark. Did I say saddle gray? I did. I meant saddle brown. It's funny, I have a hard time following my own advice. I just want to get in there with more color right now and fix it. All right. Amber. Saddle brown. So sometimes you'll see me dabbing off, and that is me taking off, if I can, the ink that's left on the brush so that I can just use what's on the paper, because I feel like it might be too much if I were to leave it. So you really don't need, and it's literally just a tiny little dab. All right, I can't wait for this to dry because I'm definitely going to add more of this bark in here. So I'm going to leave it as much as it pains me. We'll go back. Amber. I think we're going to do the saddle brown. And then I think I'm going to break out the heat gun, dry it, and we'll add the bark after it's dry. Okay, I'm going to dry this with the heat gun, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, let's try putting some more of this bark on here. This little section just is not a happy camper with me for some reason. I do think I'm going to want to come in here with some Prismacolor after this dries completely, because it's just not, it's just not quite looking the way I want it to look. Okay, I'm going to stop because I'm going to keep working it to death, and then I will be unhappy. So if we just leave it, let it dry completely, maybe even, yeah, just let it dry completely. I think we'll come back with some Prismas, and I will be happier. So let's do we want to work like the full top first, or? Yeah, I think so. I think we'll just keep working up here. So this, I don't even know what that is. I mean, it looks like leaves with holes in them, but they're white. So let's, I'm thinking. All right, so here's my purples. I can't decide. I think I want to put dark purple in there. So let's start there. And let's try deep violet. I don't know if you can see from how close up you are, but this is just pooling right in the top of the, on top of the paper. It's not even soaking in. It will. Cooper's saying hi. All right, we'll leave that for now. All right, I want to do mauve. All around these little, is that what I want to do? I don't know. Too late now, I've already put it down. So we're gonna do mauve. I have no idea if I'm going to like this or not. All right. I'm going to take felt green. Oh, sorry, I forgot I zoomed in so much. You guys might have not even seen what I just did. That's not embarrassing at all. Okay. Trying to keep everything so you can see what I'm doing, but still see close enough to... All right, I'm gonna try that. Felt green. And cadmium yellow. Oh, I'm having serious second thoughts about this now, thinking that I might have messed it up. This is fern green. I'm just going to keep going and see what happens. This is felt green, and cadmium yellow. The problem is that I didn't do it all at the same time, and so the purple didn't get a chance to bleed into the other colors that I was working. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that. It's not terrible. Maybe I just need to add some more purple and try and get it to bleed a little bit. This is cadmium yellow. All right, I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not. We're gonna try it. It's mauve. That doesn't suck. Okay, that's not bad. So we're just kind of trying to get the purple to blend out a little bit more into, because there's water on the paper already, which is probably what I should have done. It's bleeding a little bit better. All right, I'm going to put a little bit more green. This is felt green. Oh, we missed a whole, let's see, let's put felt green in there. And I guess some fern green too. All right, I'm going to try, and hopefully we're able to keep the look consistent. Maybe I'm being, oh, okay. I'm gonna wet the area around the these little circle thingies. I'm gonna wet that a little bit before I add the purple, the mauve. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and at least we're going to have the same effect and results that we had on this side. So that's okay. Okay, what did we use next? Fern, I think. Or was it felt? Or was it a combination? This is felt. And then we used Cadmium Yellow. Okay. Made it very yellow, so more felt. And then more purple, more mauve. I'm kind of just dropping it in, and it's kind of doing the bleeding for me. I think it'll be all right. Okay. Oh, I did it again. Let's do some felt. And fern. Okay, now the question is, do I want this to be dark? Or do I want it to be light? Part of me feels like I want it to be dark. So I'm not going to make that determination until I do this. And it looks like this should be done the same as this. Wouldn't you agree? Oh. I can't decide. All right, I think I'm going to do it the same. But I think this time I'm going to put the green down first and then try bleeding the mauve into the green. So, and maybe we go with just the felt green, which is kind of a yellowier green. I like how it's a little bit brighter than everything else. So we might. I'm not sure what this is, but I guess it's part of the leaf or crown, whatever you want to. Fern is the one I'm using here. All right, let's float some mauve in there and see what happens. I hate to do it over the picture in case I drip. I think that's how I should have done it all along. Not worried about getting the mauve color in the holes. I'm going to call them holes because I'm going to put another color in there and it's probably going to be dark. Cadmium Yellow. I feel like I'm almost at the point where I need to sharpen this. Okay, I kind of like that, but I feel like I need to add some of this felt green into like the shaded areas. And maybe even some light yellowy brown. I don't remember what that color is called. I'll have to pull it up. Okay, this is a little bit too wet, so I tapped off my brush, and then I'm using the dry bristles to soak up the extra. Okay, I want to add some saddle brown. Right in there. I think that's okay. I'm going to leave it. I don't want to overwork anything. So let's... I still can't decide if I want this to be green or like a dark brown, which would be the bark color. Let's take our violet and if we were to add a little bit of mauve to that as well, what would that do? Virtually nothing, really. A little bit. So I'm putting the mauve on the outer edges. Let's do that some more. something about that mauve color that I really like. This is violet. And then the mauve. What have we got here? One more here. Well, that one went in a lot darker than the other ones. I must have had a lot more pigment on my brush. Let's see if we can get some of these a little bit darker then. All right. What do I do now? I want to try, I'm going to try the holes to be, they're not really holes. I don't know what you call them, but I want to see what they look like dark. And on the plus side, because this is just ink, if I hate it, I can go over them with Prismas, hopefully. Oh, see, I think that's, it disappears. And that's not going to come up because it's already, but we might be able to erase it up. So dark is not the plan. I think a better plan is to do light and then outline it. Outline it dark, if that makes sense. So in that case, what do we do? Should we do yellow? I'm not gonna, yeah, I think I goofed there. So how bright of a yellow do we want to introduce into this thing? I do want to introduce some yellow. So, I can't. All right, let's try sun yellow. We're going to try sun yellow. Okay, fine. Okay, good. Sun yellow it is. Yay. And then for that one, I think I'm going to have to, put some ink down and then go over that one with a yellow color pencil. Okay, I like the I like what the yellow is doing to the color scheme and the brightness. Oh yeah, I really like that. Can see a little area here where I missed color, so I'm going to put some felt green right here. All right. So now I'm thinking if I do dark there, it's just going to completely disappear into the darkness of the background. So let's do a really bright green, like the apple green. You can always tone it down after it dries with something else if it's yucky. So this is apple green. We're going to tone it down with some brown. Okay, now with some amber, which is not really brown, but yeah, let's try it. So amber. I like it. Do we need to lighten up? Looking at these leaves, and I'm debating on another pop of this apple green. It's gonna darken as it dries, so it won't be quite this bright, but I think it needs it. Okay. And I'm going to try Saddle Brown. It's right in here. We might even come in with some. Oh, scary. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of bark. Yep. I like that. Do we need to do that anywhere else? Maybe right here. In fact, I'm thinking that I might do it all along this edge. I'm going to turn this so I can okay. I think we're probably going to have to start wrapping up here for this one. We don't want to have any more 3-hour videos like in the last series. Alrighty. Feel pretty good about this. Let's do, I guess that thing right there has to get done. And we should probably keep in the same colors. And what happens if I add that bark right away while the paint, or while the ink is still wet? Okay, and then I'm going to put some white right here, but I'm probably going to go back over it with Prismacolor. And this is the Mauve. I'm going to try and preserve that highlight. Yes. And then I'm going to take deep purple. Just on the bottom. All right. So what do we have to do next time? The cherry blossoms. And then we'll work on the bottom part. I think we're probably at about an hour and a half at least. So I'm going to stop for now here, and then we'll film part 3 and keep on going. Thank you again for hanging out with me. Always a pleasure. And I will see you guys on the next video. Truly, if you have any questions at all about Inktense, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I am no expert, but I can share whatever information I have gathered since starting to use them with you. I'm happy to do that. So you guys take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.